Today we're upgrading our GlowFish tank from this to this, and I guess, surprise, we have GlowFish, and also like a lot of other fish too. And all of this started because I wanted one beta, but I promise I'll introduce you to all of our new fishy friends soon. In the meantime, I will warn you that this is going to be a pretty long video because I have a lot of explaining to do. Of course, we have to start with the tank itself, so we headed over to Petco and I went with this Imagitarium 14-gallon frameless cube. This was a few weeks ago and they were having a really amazing sale, but if I'm being honest, they often have really good sales, so just keep your eye out for Petco and PetSmart if you're looking for a new tank. I picked up an extra bag of substrate. I knew I wanted to go with black gravel since that's what was already in the tank, along with a couple more pieces of driftwood because I also like to keep my tanks fairly natural, and having black gravel with neon fish is already out of the box enough. We're also going to skip the fake plant and hide section entirely. I'm not a fan of any of these artificial fish tank decorations, and my personal opinion on fake plants is that they're stupid. Just get real plants. They're really good for your tank and your fish are gonna love them. Of course, we picked up a ton of plants, and yes, these prepackaged plants are more expensive than the ones you find in the tank, but they're less risky and they don't carry any hitchhiker snails. We saw the Batman meme in the sky on the way home, and then we immediately got to work tearing down the old tank as soon as we walked in the door. Our current tank is a standard rectangular 10-gallon, and there's nothing technically wrong with this tank. It's just not the aesthetic I'm going for. After already getting a bunch of tanks, I decided I can't stand the black rims and edges after finding rimless and frameless tanks, so we're on a mission to change everything over because I know I won't be able to let it go and I'll never be happy until we do it. So it just makes sense to go ahead and change everything now before the tanks are super established. That way I can be done messing with them and let everything settle. I'm sure most of you know that we try to make everything with our pets as biologically appropriate as possible. That's like my favorite thing to say, and the fish are no exception. It was of course really important to me that I made a good environment for the fish, but I also wanted to show off that it's definitely possible to combine having quirky little fish like GlowFish and a biologically appropriate, visually interesting habitat. Parents and the kids can definitely have the best of both worlds. Trust me, it wasn't on my bingo card to have a school of GlowFish this year, but here we are. Now that the tank itself is in place, we're going to reuse basically all of the materials from the old setup, including the substrate, wood, live plants, even the water, and combine them all with a few new elements. Since those original pieces were already full of beneficial bacteria, they'll help seed the new tank and support the cycling process so the fish can have a stable environment faster. We added a new 20-gallon filter for better coverage, but we also left the old sponge filter in place because it won't hurt the tank, and it's already loaded with that same beneficial bacteria that'll help the water stay healthy as everything transitions over. It took us way too long to decide on placement for the driftwood. We went through, I don't know, like 100 different aquascapes before we finally decided on something that we liked, and I locked that in with a ton of black gravel because I was not risking having something fall and having to start this process all the way over. Don't worry, I know it looks like I didn't wash this substrate, but I just rinsed it inside the bag so that it didn't go down my garbage disposal. One thing I would change is I would have added a layer of bioactive substrate underneath the gravel. They make bioactive soil and it's really good for the plants. It would have given them more to root down into and made the whole tank system just more sustainable, but it's growing fine. So I'm gonna leave it how it is, and I'll just make that change moving forward with our new tanks. I'm sure there's a correct way to organize certain plants, but honestly, I just place them wherever I think they're gonna look best because aquascaping definitely is one of those things that I'm constantly tweaking, especially since all of our tanks are new. It's gonna take us a while to figure out what aesthetic we like best. Honestly, I don't know much about aquatic plants. I mostly just go off of what looks pretty, and since I don't use artificial decorations, the plants are really my main source of variety aside from rocks and wood. So if I'm doing something wrong or you have any tips or tricks when it comes to plants, definitely let me know. Just please be nice because fish talk people can be really mean. Anyway, after we got all the plants in place, we started filling the tank using all of the water from the original setup. Just like with the substrate and filter, reusing the water helps to preserve the beneficial bacteria that's already in the system. And when it comes to fish tanks, stability is key. The less you disturb things, the better. At least that's the approach we're trying to stick to. Eventually, my goal is to be one of those people who hasn't done a full water change on their tanks in years, but still has crystal clear water just from the top offs alone. Of course, since this tank is a little bit bigger, we're gonna need an extra few gallons of water, but luckily our house came with an RO, or a reverse osmosis filter, so we're able to top it off with just RO water. Which, if you don't know, RO water is super purified water with nearly everything filtered out. We didn't install it, but we're really grateful that it's here. If you're curious how we ended up with a school of GlowFish in the first place, we actually got the blue one from Grandma's house. He was a senior fish, and Belle really wanted to give him an upgrade. His friends had all passed away, and he had been alone for the last few years, and his tank was a little on the small side, so we took him home and gave him that first 10-gallon tank, but after doing some research, we realized that tetras are schooling fish. So his behavior that I thought was him being happy was indeed him just being erratic and lonely, so we went out and got a bunch to complete his school, along with some shrimp and snails, and now everyone is doing much better. And the good news is that GlowFish can live 5 to 8 years with proper care, so it looks like we'll have GlowFish for a really, really long time. Okay, anyway, the point is, even if you end up having quirky fish that kids love like these, you can create a really cool habitat that won't drive you crazy for the next 8 years. We've also got some other fish that we'll introduce you to soon, so let us know if you've enjoyed our first fish tank video, if you have any questions, or if you have any friendly advice to share. One upgrade I think we do want to make pretty soon is the light, but we'll have to do that in another video.